want to see us compete and fight. I think that is, being my first game here with this particular team, we've yet to really go to battle together. And I have been referencing that somewhat here this week. The reality, I think anytime you play up against a BCS opponent, and when I look at these games, I really look at FBS and BCS a little bit differently. When you're playing a BCS opponent, there are two things you got to bring to the table. One of them is physicality. I mean, we've got to be able to physically compete. And I like our chances in doing that. These guys have worked hard. We're bigger. We're stronger than we were a year ago. The second area is speed. I want to see our athletes be able to perform in the open field. And these are the two areas that if you're going to be deficient in, they show early in a game, physicality and team speed. Begin to forget how difficult it is. You start to take some things for granted. So when I came in, and I remember it like it was yesterday, but I stood before this football team here in early December, the day that I was hired or named head football coach, and I asked them a very simple question: do you guys want to win? And they don't, they still don't always know how to respond to me, but they kind of didn't know what to say. And hey, wait, I want to ask you again: do you guys want to win or not? Do you want to win? And they, yes, sir, we do. Yeah, well, then this is what we're going to have to do. So in some ways, it's the, go back to the drawing board approach and start to really implement the values in making sure you're offering enough commitment and focus on those things that will allow you to be successful. I spent 3+ years at Virginia with Mike London. I mean, we sat in the same defensive staff room, for countless hours and experienced some of the same joys and disappointments. And, it really shapes who you are. These experiences, they all shape who we are, how we look at the world and this, that, and the other thing. But so there's just so many of those in play here. That's what's really kind of neat. There's so many of these in play. And whether you talk to Fontel Mines or Byron Thweet, or whether you talk to Coach Trott, Lee Vern Beelan was on the staff there at UVA, and it's almost as if when Beelan left, Trott went in. It's like we almost replaced each other, and it's a bizarre dynamic. But again, I'd like to think on game day we just compete and fight our tails off, and on both sides of the field, and then there's still that admiration, there's still that respect, for the experience that we've put in together and the time. This place here is a better place because Mike London was here. I'm never going to forget that. I mean, that's real. I mean, it's legitimate, And in some ways, the time that we all spent at UVA made UVA a better place. There were some elements there that were, still there, still present. People still acknowledge and recognize, There isn't a throw that Jon hasn't made. There isn't a throw he has. There's not a throw he can't make. It's the ability to do it with some element of consistency. He's a fifth-year senior. Who's paid their dues more than Jon Laub? Anywhere. Give me a school, give me a guy. You guys know the storyline better than I do. You were here when he had to sit back and watch Aaron Corp come in here and take his spot, And that's the reality of athletics. Michael Strauss comes in here, head-to-head competition. I didn't know who I was going to name starting quarterback, spring ball number 1. I had no idea. So he just continued to work and work and work. And those two guys, Strauss and Laub, they live in here. They're in here all the time, watching film, all the time. They go to class. I want to make sure on record saying they go to class. Then they come in here and they watch film.
I've never seen anyone work as hard as Jon Laub. Like Coach Rocco said, he's paid his dues. He's worked extremely hard from the minute he stepped on his campus, and this is last semester, and it hasn't changed. he proved that he was a captain of this team. Similar to Austin Gunn, like people that just really stepped up throughout the summer, stepped up throughout the offseason, and proved to the teammates, not to just the coaches, but to all of us. He put a confidence level in us like that we would have in him throughout his work ethic, throughout his experience on this team. He is a fifth year, so honestly, the way he works off the field, on the field, academics, I think he's had a couple semesters here where he's got a 4.0 GPA. The kid's extremely intelligent. He knows the game. If he just keeps his confidence level going throughout these games, Jon's going to have a great season. I'm very excited for Jon Laub. Beating UVA for this program could mean a lot of things. I think one thing that we just talked about is a confidence builder. It's a momentum swing throughout the season. If we beat UVA, that will just get some momentum going throughout the season. We'll step into Gardner-Webb. Then I think we travel to VMI, then Georgia State, and then ODU. And if we just get on a roll the way we know that we can, because we have a very solid team. We have a lot of athletes, a lot of big guys, a lot of playmakers, a lot of guys who can make some plays. So we just need to go in this week, stay focused, take it one game at a time. We beat UVA. We work hard. We do what we're supposed to do as a team. I think that will carry us over, because the one motto that we have on this team is win today. That's what Coach Rocco preaches. And before we even get to Saturday, we got to get to tomorrow. We got to get to Friday. We got to prepare for Saturday well before that day comes. We got to stay focused. This year is all about repairing that image. We worked so hard throughout the winter, throughout the summer, throughout camp, and Coach Rocco's been preaching the entire time, this is not a rebuilding season by any means. The moment he stepped into this office or into this building as the head football coach, he preached to us that this is not a rebuilding season. We're here to win, and we're going to take that confidence and that mentality throughout the entire season, that we need to win. This is what this program is all about. We've had successful seasons, and we know we can do it. 6-5, 3-8, past 2 seasons, couple rough runs, but honestly, that's adversity. That's things that football teams need to go through in order to be successful in the end. And I think we're starting to get the picture, starting to get the mentality back. Just got to get some confidence, play well here on Saturday.